Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody.
I want to welcome Jean-Luc, President of Organics Europe. Thank you for coming here and for organizing this forum here in Gironde. I would like to have a special hello for Ukrainian representative present here. Thank you very much for coming here. And I want to tell you all the support of Gironde for Ukraine.
I'd like to also welcome Philippe Lassalle Saint-Jean, dear President. Thank you for responding to our invitation. Mr. Sylvain, Director of Nouvelle Bio-Aquitaine, all the representatives of organic farming who are here today with us. So in France, we talk sometimes about agriculture, but we never think about it. That's what Alphonse Karr wrote. He's a journalist and a novelist, a friend of Victor Hugo. At the end of the 19th century, he warned of the risk of agriculture becoming something which we don't think about in our industrial society, even though it is one of the bases of our society, and especially of France, where rurality occupies a very special place. So I'm especially happy to welcome here in Gironde, a rural department, even if you often think about its metropolis where you are today, to welcome to our European Congress of Organic Farming, to think and act collectively on this major topic, what our policy should be in favor of farming and our actions in favor of healthy, quality foodstuffs. I'm very much attached to the agricultural value chain, which starts from land and which goes right through to public health, starting off from reasonable processes and practices, especially in organic farming, and education in terms of taste, access to healthy eating for everybody. So it's the entire value chain that we are sustaining in the Gironde department, especially with my colleagues here, Stéphane Debord and Eve Demange, who I welcome too. So this Congress fits into a period, quite a special period. First of all, a context of inflation, which could fragilize, could weaken agricultural exportation, and also the problems that organic farming is facing with the crisis, and an absence of a determined policy from the French government. In Gironde, we've committed ourselves since 2020 with a strategy for adaptation and anticipation to the environmental and societal changes, what we talk the territorial resilience strategy, which shall enable us to accompany the development of organic farming, where it will take a major place. Gironde counts, you should be aware of this, 5,800 farms, over 2,600 hectares, and it's essential for a department like ours to have, right at the heart of its public policy, a sustainable vision for agriculture and especially organic farming. So the question arises as to the political project. The issue is quite simple: how to ensure a transition from conventional agriculture towards organic farming, which respects the farmer and environmental necessities. So we're talking about 18% surface area in organic, which means about 1,800 farms certified for organic farming, which represents 27,800 hectares in all. So this is a surface area which has increased by 29% between 2019 and 2020, just in 1 year, which shows that this is a model that works and whose dynamics doesn't need to be proven. Another figure which seems important to me here is that 46% of organic farming surface area provides food, which is why Gironde, we're working to see Gironde to be a land of links, where from the land where the work goes on in the fields right through to food and public health. With this dynamics, the Gironde is the leading organic department in Nouvelle Aquitaine and is way above the national average, because we're the third organic department in France. So obviously we could be delighted with this dynamic, and we want to go take this further with direct support to producers and farmers in the department. You should be aware that 100% of farmers supported by the department are now in organic farming, so there's a quality approach and a short-circuit approach. So we've decided since 2020 to stop any assistance to conventional agriculture, and we're devoting our energies to reasoned production and organic in particular. This is 1.6 million euros, which are there to give life to production and farming in Gironde. So farmers here represent a fairly substantial proportion of the agricultural world, but the switch to organic remains an objective for us, and eliminating herbicides and pesticides is absolutely essential. So we need to encourage this organic farming with a natural partner on the territory, which is Interbio, with whom we've been working jointly, and the department has been accompanying them since 2010. I had the opportunity of working with Interbio before becoming president of the department, and we now have very close links with Interbio, which we've supported strongly. For 2 years now, they've been working on a summary of bio data for the department, and we now have a public policy in terms of organic farming, but also in terms of foodstuffs, both of these being intimately interconnected, and we should not forget that. With Interbio, we're going to be conducting a number of projects. First of all, a focus on market gardening, looking at the major operators on fresh fruit and vegetables. So the whole thing is getting much tenser, and professionals are moving from a very difficult summer campaign into 2020 and 2021. And we know that the international context is going to increase the pressure on the agricultural activities, especially in terms of analysis of production and the flows of consumption. We're also going to do a focus on the organic dairy farming sector, which has been impacted especially by the COVID crisis in a especially difficult context. The different studies have been covered by a detailed restitution, giving mapping details, which are compiled with data from the geographical information system. The idea is to try and find a consistency, coherence between these different tools. In 2021, the department helped the organic sector with 1.5 million euros, and if I take support in investment for farms in organic, the department has supported 104 farms in all, in wine growing, 17 in breeding, and 72 farms working in other sectors, including market gardening, which represent about 1,000 hectares in the department. We're also accompanying action programs annually with a certain number of partners, including the Union of Wine Producers. Agrobio supported them with 23 million euros, and the Chamber of Agriculture, with whom we've got a partnership and agreement. We're working together to orient our contribution to ensure that we are working towards organic farming. This is work, this is fundamental work we're doing, because conversion to organic farming, as I mentioned earlier when I mentioned wine growing, is really a cultural revolution. A cultural revolution is something which needs time. We need to change attitudes. We need to have a raising of awareness. And really, we haven't got time. We need to go much faster in conversion to ensure that the environmental precautions are really taken into account, and we think about the health of the farmers too. And in terms of public health generally. So we also have a more prospective vision, an innovative vision in terms of subjects. This is the method the department has chosen since I became president in 2015. The phrase that guides us is as follows: we need to dare to make a mistake, but we need to dare to try and achieve success. So these forms of experimentation are the channels, the pathways that we've chosen to encourage change, which can be effected over the entire departmental policy, but especially in these policies. And I'd like to mention the perspective of experimentation in social security for foodstuffs across the department. We're convinced that we need to work on foodstuff quality, and to do so we need to have access to fresh products and if possible organic for the most fragile, the most precarious sectors of the population. We can't talk about human solidarity if we don't consider the people who are in a precarious situation, who have very little resources. We need that they be turned systematically towards hard discount. We need to share food quality and share it too through organic production. So we want to foster the use of local products, organic if possible, and boost the what is on offer in terms of supply with new departmental farms in particular. Just a word before moving on to farms and this food social security approach. It's a difficult topic to understand. We're in relation with a national association which is working on this topic, and we're going to try before 2023 to work out a model for food social security which can be experimented in the Gironde department, and we hope on other territories too. Departmental farms, and here I'd like to say a few words on this, because this is also a project that's absolutely unprecedented in France today. In the department, we're lucky in having a domain, a location where there are buildings. These are former farm buildings, but also heritage buildings of great interest, and 40 hectares of land, of which 8 can be devoted to organic market gardening. So then we're now setting up, this has already been done, we've set up we've got a young woman who was involved in goat's milk cheese production, and she started to work in a market garden there. So it's also special in that we're combining agriculture and culture, because we're involved in promoting reading through a library in that locality to try and disseminate cultural production as well. There's also a point of sale for these market garden products on the site. So this is a special feature in France, and we're now looking to see how we can roll out such farms like this in the department, over the entire department, to try and give the people in Gironde access to to local food of quality. I should mention secondary schools too. We have a responsibility for them, and our competence concerns the buildings, maintenance, and the canteens. I won't go into the plan we've got, but we've got 14 secondary schools to be created by 2025 for the increase in population, the demographic increase here, and this is going to cost 85 million euros, and we're trying to ensure that this is distributed throughout Gironde where it's needed. And so we're also working on provision of meals to the school students. So we consider that this strand of food is essential, because it's part of educating young people in questions of taste, and we need to teach them, for them to learn what good eating is, what quality is, as compared with the junk food that's coming onto the market, and they have a culture of what good eating is. So we're going to be working on short circuits, and we're also going to be fostering organic food in the secondary schools, and we're going to be accompanying our teams of professionals who are working in these secondary schools to train them in new methods like the introduction of plant proteins, and try to have the way we do things in secondary schools evolve so that we can guarantee foodstuff quality and with a variety, and obviously with the dietary considerations that need to be respected. So we're working with the organisation that looks after land allocation and so on. So we're going to be seeing a number of secondary schools adopting organic food. We're going to be looking at how to achieve purchases in organic foods and so on. And we're going to be working with a partner who's going to be accompanying us on 15 new secondary schools, while accompanying the secondary schools that are already labelled. And for a total, we have the objective of 40 secondary schools, lower secondary schools, accompanied over the 45 that there are in the department. And we're going to accompany them in this approach. I'll finish off now on the introduction of organic products in secondary school, lower secondary school canteens. This is something we've been working on with Interbio. So to finish off, I'd say that agriculture should not be the poor relative of public policy, and especially it must be involved in agriculture is right at the heart of issues relating to ecology, but also social issues. So we absolutely need to work on this topic. Agriculture must be right at the heart of our thinking and our actions, because it's a sector where all the challenges in terms of the environment, health, society and economy meet up. So this is one of the keystones to have a sustainable response to a simple question which we're trying to deal with here, which is what sort of world do we want to live in tomorrow? If this is the question that the changes in agriculture will pose. We need to feed populations with all populations, or do we want to just produce, just generate profits, money? So the question arises, we need to work with agricultural production that's respectful of our territory, but also in a balance with the soil, with the earth and human needs. And I'd like to thank you for having been having come along in such great numbers to take an interest in these fundamental questions. Thank you.